Have they already done the sort of Big Show dressed up and seen with a fake teeth?
No, I think he does that after Survivor Series because he says about losing his job, and clearly no one loses the job at Survivor Series.
Hello and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever I am joined to my left by just straight out of Strange Ways. It's Jack Chance.
Hello.
And he's mad for it. It's Sam Chance.
Hello.
And I am your host. I don't know, someone else to do with Manchester. Not a role model like David Beckham. Your host, Ben Chance. Sign of the times, isn't it? And we are heading to Manchester for our fifth leg of our invasion story arc as we check out Rebellion 2001. Best rebellion you've ever seen?
I don't know.
Rank rebellion.
When we do the full arc of Rebellion, we can rank
Is this the first one we've done?
It's got to be. There's
The
can't be that
first one.
many. Did they do them from like 98?
Is it 4, I think?
4.
Oh, yeah, no. I know there might be 5.
Yeah, because 99, the UK show, was... I think you had the one at the end of 99 because you had No Mercy at the beginning of the year.
Which we have done, and you
We
can
have
check out in our archives.
So I think it's 99, 2000, 2001 and 02.
Yeah. 02 is the last one.
And 03. They did an 03
SmackDown,
one as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think that was the last one.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, I can understand why as well with some of these shows. But we are heading to the 3rd of November 2001.
We went to the end of 03.
I think
that
it's
was
about.
the Rebellion talks. It was SmackDown.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't show it. I don't think it's on the network, 2003. I think 02 is the last one on the network.
Yeah, because I think it's the last one.
Well, it might not be, though, because not all the UK shows are on the network. Mayhem in Manchester, Mad for It, isn't on there.
Maybe Manchester
Why would
was...
they just leave the 03 off?
Well, it might not have been like on Sky Box Office or something, said it. It might have
been on
like
Satanta.
Could be, I don't know, I'll have to check it later on. Maybe they'll just put WWA on and have Alice in the main event. Tato versus the Puppet. But yes, the world of 2001. November the 3rd, to be precise. I think we're about 4 weeks from the end of it, 3 weeks from the end of it.
I can't believe how much shit's happened in like 2 weeks from No Mercy.
Well, yes, let's get over this. So before we get there, November the 3rd, 2001, UK had caught up with Australia because we got high with them. We said, friends, we will get high together. Aussies, 3 weeks at number 1. Afro Man. UK, first week appearing at number 1, Afro Man. Arms across the sea, friends.
What a time to realise.
The Canadians were completely in love with that song by Serial Joe. No one knows what it is.
Serial Joe.
And Mary J. Blige and Family Affair was
No one knows what she sings. I told you this.
the Americans love it. I couldn't tell you what that song sounds
She just features on things.
Yeah.
That's all she does.
You're a fraud, Mary! I know your game. Who would have thought that the feud that would come from this, me and Sting, who do you not like? Disco Inferno?
I don't like a lot of people.
Joey Styles?
Take her into the
Hardcore wrestling, salmon wrestling, and Jack and Mary J. Blige.
You're a bloody fraud.
You think you're special? Monsters Inc. took over the box office. Have we all seen Monsters Inc?
I think so.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
We voice went.
I think a game at least two of us would have played. You probably played it. FIFA 2002 was released, and the cover star was Thierry Henry. And as FIFA's, they make massive strides forward every summer. There's something new. The Swiss League was.
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Finally, can be called. We've got the Swiss. Yay!
And also,
Neutral no more.
yes, West Bromwich Albion broke their pay-per-view hoodoo. We've done it. We've beat Nottingham Forest with a Juve Rosler 1 goal. Juve Rosler 1-0. And quite famous free kick by Jean-Arnaud Risa settled the Manchester United Liverpool, which they should have referenced on this.
Yeah,
because it was the same day. So Liverpool beat him. Regal should have shat on him by going, how about Risa's free kick? And then they're all going, yeah! Because he don't understand. Because they still hate Manchester United. But yes, Liverpool won 3-1 over Manchester United. I think it was at United as well.
I think it was, yeah.
So, yeah, there you have it. So what's happened? Well, a fucking lot. First of all, the McMahons are fed up with all this alliance crap. To quote Vince McMahon. And so there's a winner-take-all Survivor Series match, which is now booked. We're just waiting to work out who's going to be on what team. Strangely, Big Show.
Well, it was.
It was Vince, because that was
yeah.
the thing. It was Shane and Vince.
Did he not trust himself?
I think it was more a case of probably thinking, how the fuck are we going to get me out of the match? Because I don't think he wants to take a fall, particularly.
But you've beaten.
He should have fucking won. I mean, if anyone's going to save the WWF, it should be Vince. I think also as well, maybe it's because they wanted that iconic sort of moment at the end where he's celebrating. The jacket, which we'll get to. I mean, it's a fitting end. Rock and Jericho have patched things up long enough to win the WWF titles, and then long enough to lose the WWF titles to Booker T and Test. The Dudley Boys, having lost the WWF titles to Rock and Jericho, have rebounded long enough to win the WCW titles, beating the Hardy Boys. Hurricane has dropped the European title long enough for Bradshaw to drop the European title to Christian. Oh, by the way, Kurt Angle, US champion, obviously can't beat Austin. Let's give him the US title the night after No Mercy. That's fine. He's got a mid-card title. A week later, he's in the Alliance. He's turned on WWF. And so our American hero, 2 months after 9/11, is now an All-American villain. And he has joined the Alliance. Have I missed much or anything else?
Probably. There's probably more. There's so much shit going on there.
Yeah, so Booker T and Test are our tag team champions, not in the US, because you want to know what happened in the US on the US side of things? It's a lovely card. It is a lovely card, which is opened up, and you'll get confused by one of them, because I got confused by it as well. Opens up with Spike Dudley defeating Steven Richards.
Is he still there? I thought he went with Chronic.
Well, that would have been harsh. That would have been harsh if they went, well, you're fired.
No, I thought he went to bloody Heartland Wrestling or whatever it was.
I think they trusted him.
Yeah.
I think they knew he could bump.
It's a known job.
Yeah.
What do they know?
What an opener.
Ivory versus Jacqueline.
Well, that happens every week.
Now, this is beautiful. Rico Constantino and Sean Stasiak defeated... What a team.
Rico's Alliance. I never knew this.
Rico and Sean beat the team of Randy Orton and Ron Waterman. Who, I looked at Ron Waterman. He's a big old meat truck, I tell you that.
Is he Pete's son?
Come out of the trade.
It's an OVW show featuring Sean Stasiak.
Sean Stasiak's the only one with a name there.
I love it.
And he's still lost.
Yeah. No, he won. He won him and Rico. He probably went over Randy Orton.
Rico got the bit.
Yeah, definitely.
That's for sure.
So these are the matches before the break. By the way, Albert defeated Mike Awesome, which is fine.
Awesome's still around.
Steady. And then they went to break. with a steel cage WWF Tag Team title defense. They won. Booker T and Test beating Kane and Undertaker in the
I bet there's so much shit going on there.
These next 5 matches are beautiful. Like, you've just stayed to the break. You've seen a cage match. Wait, because Perry Saturn's beating Raven, and we've seen that.
Again.
Jesus. Brock Lesnar beats Tommy Dreamer, so I assume this is where they're starting today.
Tommy got a match.
Confusingly, Eddie Guerrero beat Funaki, but he was just out of rehab, and 4 nights later he got arrested for drunk driving and was released. So he was just about to come back.
I thought they'd released him before the Alliance.
No, they sent him to rehab during the Alliance. And then he come out just at the start of November. November 3rd, it was his second ever dark match, or whatever, one of these matches. And then on November the 9th, he was arrested and released.
It lasted for a week.
Yeah. Then the sub-main event, S.A. Rios defeated Crash.
Is S.A. turned?
Don't know, but he went over. And then the main event is Rob Van Dam defending and retaining his hardcore title against Taz. So
the Taker thing's there. I mean, that's a cage match. Why is Taz? And Taz is Alliance as well.
Well, sometimes like with sometimes like with Sam's book, you know that obviously that's not the order, but this report tells you where the break was, so there's no doubt. Assuming that report is right, there's no doubt that it ended with.
What was the match after the break?
Perry Saturn versus Raven. Bring him back hot.
What the fuck's that?
That was the card.
Maybe that live event. Maybe they had the break and they realised the queues for the bogs are long. Let's put on Saturn Raven so them who couldn't get to the bog can get.
I mean, if you was like Perry Saturn or S.A. Rios and you're looking at them, they've got fucking Orton and they've got Brock. I'd be thinking, I might not be long for this world.
I'd be sitting there after 2.5 hours of a show, and then S.A. Rios' theme comes on. And you go, well, what the fuck is happening now?
Yeah. Imagine if you'd miscounted and thought that was the main event.
Like big light on. S.A. sends the fans home after it.
I think more fans would have been shocked. There's already one left.
I just love that. And I love the fact that Chavo and Bill DeMott could have stayed back and earned a paycheck, but actually now they're going to be involved in all this spots. So we get the big bill for our WrestleMania rematch, which is our main event in the UK. There's no mention of what happened with Austin and Vince in terms of this build, and there's also no mention of the fact that Angle is now a heel. But we do get mentioned later on. So the Manchester Evening News Arena is jam-packed. One of the signs behind Heyman and JR said Ian Fryer has monkey breath.
Who?
Yeah. So
I agree.
Ian Fryer, get in touch. Do you have monkey breath?
What is monkey breath?
Get yourself some Listerine.
I don't know. Monkey breath. You've got to love that. We get a quick rundown of our main events. The Steel Cage IC Championship match, though, is going to open up. As I say, and I said it on the last episode, it does feel like this is a bit done and dusted. But I guess on a throwaway C-show pay-per-view, who the fuck are you going to put against Edge if you don't put him against Christian?
It's better than the alternatives, isn't it?
Crash.
Yeah, I suppose. It's also, and I think you mentioned this in one of our last episodes, the black barred cage, and one of the last times
you see the bar.
Well, they'd already switched to the fence.
Yeah, they'd just sort of alternated
left this over here.
That's it. They put it in Sam Skip.
Next to the alcohol, all the other bloody rubbish. They're fly tipped. Vince fly tipped round your flat. They did it with Electric Express. Just leave that on the road. Fuck that bunch.
I love that. That's a brilliant story, that isn't it? I'm fucking done with that much now, leave it there. Edge and Christian then for the IC title. Christian jumps Edge before he can get his leather jacket off. Edge recovers and uses the coat to smother Christian and then choke him with it. Edge sends Christian around the ring with whips and a leg sweep. Christian is hung up on the ropes, but goes for a pinfall. I've said this before. I've never liked a pinfall in an escapable cage. I don't mind it in a non-escapable cage because that's the idea fundamentally of a cage match. But if you're gonna have the gimmick of the door and why would you then have a submit pin door climb? It's like, fuck me, man. There's a lot going on here. Christian nearly steals one after sending Edge head first into the steel. There's a backbreaker and another near fall. Christian tries to escape, but Edge has enough to block it. Christian beats down Edge and tries to go through the door now, but Edge stops it. Christian is dumped onto his face from the top, and Edge gets a 2 on a crossbody. Christian gets a near fall on a catapult into the cage, and Edge clotheslines his way out of a rest hold spot. Edge out of nowhere with a spear out the corner. Edge rallies from the double down, hitting a spinning heel kick and a face buster for a 2. Edge counters the unprettier, goes to escape, but Christian recovers long enough to taste the steel 3 times. Christian stops Edge leaving and goes to leave himself. I think this was quite innovative of the time, this spot, but it was wasted on this pay-per-view.
I always remember this spot.
Yeah, because he goes to escape, he grabs his legs, ties the legs. I think it takes too long, but that can happen with these sort of spots. And I think there is a worry that if you don't do it tight enough, he'll just fall out and then he'll win. So I think Christian sort of tucks his leg on the ropes as well, just to make sure. Christian is caught and Edge leaves. It's an innovative spot, but it does feel like such a waste on this C-Show pay-per-view. And because the crowd aren't... It's not... Obviously, you can't hear it. I don't even think Heyman and JR are very good on commentary explaining what's happening. So it just felt a bit flat for me. Jeff?
I quite liked the match. I think it was probably one of their best one as a whole.
Do you think it was better than the ladder?
I do, yeah.
You're a madman.
I know I'm mad for thinking it, but I do. I sit there and I just think, I do think this. So I'm going to say it. Because, I mean, it's, it's on a nothing pay-per-view, really, but it's the right length. I don't think it's too long. It starts the show, so the crowd are quite hot, even though you can't really, they ate audio very well at times. But the finish is really innovative, like you say. I always remember the finish from when I was a child watching it at 9 years old. And I love the finish. I think they highlighted Edge well. I think Christian looked quite good. I don't like you, I don't really like pin hands and escape. I think it's going to be one or the other. So that makes it a bit... that does ruin some bits of the match where them pinning and then them trying to escape and then one or do the other.
Exactly. I mean, I like cages as an end of a feud when it's a bloodbath and then they can't escape. But I also like cages when you've got an Owen Hart or a Christian who should always constantly be trying to escape. But when you've got both, it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to think? But I
should always be Christian trying to escape and Edge dragging him back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they do a little bit, but not loads of.
But they didn't have a lot of time,
but I thought it was about the right length because it's only 2 hours, this pay-per-view, so it's a long pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Decent opener, liked it. I thought it was a nice little start to the show with a big match.
I'll see if Sam agrees with me then, because I thought it was very flat. The ending was fun. I did like the ending. And the good thing about all 3 matches have had good endings. The cheating on the first match, the concerto on the second, and the innovative cage on the third. For the first time, I thought that maybe it's because Heyman and JR just thought, well, fucking... I'm not going for our A stuff here. You can have our fucking second tier stuff. But I didn't think they were great, nor were the crowd, but it might have been a really poor setup in terms of that. It might have been really loud if he was there. Pretty average for these two, I thought. Jeff? Sam, sorry?
It was alright. I mean, you can't go wrong with a cage match start to show, particularly a glorified filmed house show.
Yeah.
But the finish was inventive. It's one of the most memorable finishes in a cage match. It wasn't bad. I think you could tell this is it now for these two. So let's just move them away now.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt like that's it now.
I felt like that after the exclamation mark of the concerto. I think had done that. So JR and Heyman have a little bicker as we get a recap of Angle's turn from Raw. Chavo is backstage. He's our backstage reporter tonight. He'll be interviewing the Divas. He's all horny. But Bill DeMott, well, I want to do it.
I'm horny too.
I'm horny and I will bully you. You don't. So yeah, he threatens to beat up little Chavo, who just says, well, let's do it together.
Hold on, they were misfits in action, but
Yeah, they was, yes.
Oh,
They were a
so
team.
have
General
history.
Rection and
Where's Van Hammer? I bet there was a general election in that. Hey. Terrible segment, does nothing because, so they go in. Trish has towel on. We see the sort of back of Trish. She's covered by a towel. She sort of tells them off and says, do you want to see Lita? Oh, yeah, great. It's not the best. I mean, even for the time, it's not that funny, really, you know. Regal would have done it better.
I think it really helps their characters to be the horny perverts. So, what's the point in them?
Well,
especially like you.
Well, the moment you're shoving a fucking microphone on Chavo and Bill DeMott, you might as well be saying, well, you fucked up. You're never going to recover from this.
Well, Chavo did.
Thank God, he come back.
I didn't like the segment. But we're going to get a couple more of them, so don't worry.
Oh, there's one good moment.
There is. Scotty is here. Gets a nice pop, but so does his opponent, who is the Hurricane. So Scotty too hotty first time. It's got to be the first match we've seen of Scotty.
Yeah, I think he was either injured or he was. I know at one point he was ill for a while, and he come back. I think he was like 04 when
cold.
He did high five Tucker after Rock had won the WCW title.
Oh yes, so he was still around. You just don't see him a lot. So I know he did have a lung injury. I think it might have been early in that one. That's why Grandmaster was with Blackman.
I think it's a sensible sort of person to go abroad, though, because he's going to get a reaction. Yeah, he's always going to get a pop.
I like Scotty.
Scotty gets the crowd into the match with a few hand claps, and Hurricane gets the better of Scotty early on so he can do his poses. Heyman calls Scotty's finisher the slug. Did enjoy that. Good old Heyman. Hurricane stays on top with a big clothesline, but Scotty recovers with head scissors and a clothesline. Scotty is sent into the ring post, and Hurricane hits a nice running neck breaker. It's a bit slow for a sort of cruiserweighty kind of match. Hurricane puts on a nerve hold. Scotty has to break it up. I think Scotty might have had an injury because this is as slow as I've ever saw Scotty do Isaac fight.
Or he's just coming back from one.
Yeah, he takes a hip toss for a 2. There's a modified camel clutch now by Hurricane, and after it breaks up, Hurricane puts on his cape. He's caught in the midsection on a leaping nothing, and a DDT leads to a double down. Scotty escapes Hurricane and lays in a super kick for a 2. Hurricane mocks the worm and goes for the choke slam, but this leads to a super kick of his own for a 2. Hurricane tries to use the ropes to steal a win. Scotty reverses the eye of the Hurricane, sets up and hits the worm, and for the last time I can ever remember it wins a match. It beats Hurricane. The worm has beaten the Hurricane. Thoughts on the match, Sam?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, I do like the two of them. I think that worked well off each other, two comedy kind of gimmicks. But yeah, you could tell Scotty wore. Is he? I'm sure
he's not fast enough. Yeah, he's definitely. There's just something wrong with him. Sorry, Scotty.
Scotty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. He lost his head.
It firmly shows you that this is a C pay-per-view because there ain't no way that if they cared about it, Hurricane would lose to Scotty. It's just a case of in the UK, nothing really matters. I thought it was an okay match. Both of them can work. I like the characters. They're very strong characters. Very filler though. If I'm really judging this, Hurricane should have won, I suppose. So Jack?
Yeah, well, I liked it a lot more than you two. I love the character work of both. I love the spot of Scotty doing the skin the cat and then going behind Hurricane and doing his big smile with his pose. I thought that was brilliant. Oh my God. Scotty, you are my hero. And then I thought they did everything quite well, quite crisp, quite clean. It was a little bit slow, but they fly around people and they're overly. And I do agree that Hurricane should not be losing to Scotty Too Hotty on anything that matters, but this is a show that's only seen in the UK. And although they do say after that it's seen in other places as well, which I don't understand. But it's a non-canon show, so send the crowd home happy. Scotty winning, even though I think they'd probably be happy with Hurricane winning.
I think at this point they probably would.
But I did like it.
Well, the crowd probably wouldn't have seen this, but we saw it at home. More fun with the friendly perverts as they have a little perv on later who's got a top off at the time. Speaking of pervs, it's DDP. Yeah, I mean, he goes from one thing to another, doesn't it? I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's a slightly bad thing. He's doing it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Sorry, was there something you wanted to reference with the friendly perv spot? Because you said there was a good thing that happened.
No, it's after.
Oh, it's good.
It happened, yeah. The friendly perverts are still on the moment later.
I must have missed it, then. I don't think
there's another one after this.
This DDP.
Oh, yes, there is. Yes, and I know what it is.
He's still living this DDP, this gimmicky DDP.
This became his light.
Yeah, I mean, I get why Vince thought, well, you know, we've kind of ruined you, so what do you like doing? I like being a sort of motivator kind of person. Well, we're going to make you into a heel version of that.
Really smile a lot.
It gets over, though. It definitely gets over. There's people in the crowd with the signs and stuff. I mean, he's doing that. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. He basically says all Brits are depressed, and that's not a bad thing because there's only one way to go, that's up. What have they done to you, Dallas? What have they done to you, my beautiful boy?
Fucking take that one.
Yeah. Do you remember when everyone was cheering when he was doing the diamond cutter when he was in the main event with Jay Leno? And now look at him. What have they done to you? Just kill him. Big Show's out anyway. He's racing DDP. He knocks. Have they already done the sort of Big Show dressed up as him with a fake?
No, I think he does that after Survivor Series because he says about losing his job, and clearly no one loses the job after Survivor Series.
This whole concept, Sam.
Look, if people don't know what happens,
Clearly no one loses their job, Vince. Never before as a full stop. Never before as a full stop. It better put on the pointlessness of the alliance angle than that statement. Oh, brilliant. No, that's starting the show.
Something all.
Put that at the start of Survivor Series.
Yeah, you can put that at the start of every episode.
Brilliant, that is.
Oh, dear. Right.
This is pointless there.
Got a bit massive.
Big Show knocks down DDP, corner clotheslines him. DDP avoids a right hand but is palmed away. Show lifts DDP without using his arms in a headlock spot. Then the ring. Yeah, it does show his power. DDP rallies with chops to the knees, hits the top rope clothesline. There is a mention that DDP's submission hold might be.
It's almost like Page is trying to execute either a Indian Deathlock or the Texas Cloverleaf.
An Indian Deathlock, which we all love. The Indian Deathlock.
J.R. was in America, he would lose his mind. Oh my God! Paul! It's the Indian Deathlock!
Show's having none of that though, but bats him away. He bounces DDP off the top rope. DDP is clever. Because Vince, he ain't going to be watching a lot of this show. So he hits the diamond cutter, but he ain't stupid enough to go for the pin. I'm having to lie down for 10 seconds at least. Long enough for Show's kick out to be expected. Runs into a choke slam. There's no kicking out of that. DDP tries to cut that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. But halfway through, they just play Big Show's music anyway and ruin it. Poor DDP can't even get his shit in after the bell. Yeah, but Big Show beats DDP. Jack, what's on me?
I mean, nothing really happens. It ain't that long. I ain't bothered about it, really. You're just watching it, you just go, well, what was the point in that? I don't really like the end of him doing that, or a bad thing, that's a good thing. Yeah, just thought, well, what, was he lost? Who are you fooling here, DDP?
Well, DDP's always struggled. He struggles as a heel anyway, I think, just in general.
People just like him.
He's just very likeable. He is a very likeable. I do get the idea behind the gimmick. because he is a motivational speaker. You know, like we all knew that Barry Darso was a repo man, so
he was a smash.
and a golfer, and a blacktop bully, whatever that is.
And a Russian.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, it's sensible booking. I'm sorry, DDP, but you are dead now. And, your career is over. So who cares about you? Big show's in the main event next week. We've got to get him primed.
This is just pointless, eh? It's really
sad, isn't
Why was this in the American show?
I don't quite know, really, if I'm honest. Yeah, maybe you could have let.
I think people like to see him just because it's so big.
Yeah, and maybe it's because, you know, DDP did get a little bit of a pop from the Brits. Like, you know what I mean? He's the kind of person who the Brits wouldn't have seen a lot of. I don't know how many tours WCW did, to be honest.
Not many, I don't know.
That's true.
So maybe there is an element to that. But then that begs the question: why didn't they bring over Perry Saturn? So yeah, well, you might.
A lot of people not.
Yeah, the best segment yet, without a doubt, and it's a fitting end to our pervert segments in the back. Because they perv on Mighty Molly, who screams because she has been exposed, but not in the exposure that you would think.
Three in a row. We got this. We got this. Ready? On three. 1, 2, 3.
Holy peeping Tom! How dare you walk in on a superheroine without her cape?
How dare you look at a superhero without her cape on?
Holy peeping Tom!
So good. So good. Mighty Molly is so good.
Well, I don't get it. Why don't they have a Stacey segment? They had the other three.
Yeah.
They're the Molly things.
They didn't have Tory though, did they?
Yeah, Tori's the one in the tag. Trisha in it.
What the hell, actually?
Oh, Trish is the ref, are you?
Yeah, that's the ref.
Maybe they did it, and because their acting is awful, they had to cut that one.
This is so bad. We can't even hear it on Rebellion.
Yeah. This is the best one, though, and it's all the hard work of Mighty Molly. I mean, Molly Holly works really hard for her. Mighty Molly's pretty as well, but Mighty Molly deserves so much credit, especially in the next match where she's only in for a kick, and you just think you're the only one who can work. Like, Jesus. I do love this bit, though. It goes to Austin and Angle are back together. Oh, I love it. The handshake pullback. Angle being goofy. He says,
It's all about momentum, and man, do we have momentum going for us. With the acquisition of Kurt Angle, oh man, the Alliance is on a roll. History once again can be made tonight.
You're damn right we got momentum. The Alliance has momentum. We got Kurt Angle with us. We're right here, right there tonight. And we don't need to worry about Survivor Series. We're right here in Manchester. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to go out there and for the World Wrestling Federation Championship whip the Rock's ass. Yeah, I'm trying to talk. I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about you. Can you get the job done?
Yeah, I'm going to beat Chris Jericho for the WCW title tonight. You can count on me.
Then we have all the gold. Don't you understand? The Alliance would have all the power, all the gold. That's...
Hey, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this table's round. We're in England. You get it? Knights of the Round Table. Yeah. Think about this. Stone Cold, you could be King Arthur.
What?
Deborah, you could be Guinevere. Yeah. And Shane, you could be Merlin.
Magician?
Yeah, the magician. And me? I could be Sir Galahad. Yeah. And since we have good nights, we need bad nights too.
I'm having a bad night right now.
What?
Merlin, can you make me disappear?
Hold on a second. We gotta have bad nights. The Rock, he could be Sir Lancelot. Yeah.
You're sick. You're pathetic. tables, Knights, Guinevere, Galahad. What? You're pathetic. In Texas, you ain't got none of this crap about knights and round tables. That's why I'm sick to be here, Kurt. And I'm trying to, I know, and I'm trying to take you under my wing, but it's real, real hard, Kurt. Go out there and you do what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about me.
I will.
Deborah, let's go.
Good luck, Steve.
You do know where we are. Did you know this table's round? And they all loving it. He calls Austin King Arthur. For some reason, that pisses Austin off. How dare you? Call me King Arthur. Obviously, the horn goes off because Deborah's now here.
Oh, God, Deborah. Deborah. You have to voice that in there. Anytime Deborah appears on any podcast, here comes Deborah.
Yeah, the Deborah Horn sounds. She's Guinevere. Shane McMahon is Merlin.
What is he, Merlin?
I just fucking love that. And Angle, he says, I could be Sir Galahad. Looks up. And Austin, gets really angry at him. He wants Merlin to make him disappear because you're pathetic. Calls Angle pathetic. Angle being a goof. I mean, obviously, it's sad in many ways the way it ended with Angle not getting his proper sort of crowning on top tier talent. But he's so good as a comedic heel.
It's just how fit the story we've been telling for the past 3 months.
We've
now just reverted back to what
it's
it was.
almost like
It's just a different. Forget all that.
They'd have just changed Vince from because Vince would have been a better Merlin as well.
Oh, yeah, he would have reacted. He'd have done a goal. The dimple chin would have come out.
It really does feel like they've just gone, what a shame. If this invasion thing hadn't have happened, what we could have done without going.
Buy it.
Because maybe that's where they were going to go. Like, Angle naturally goes into the heels, the face spot. Because I think before Triple H got injured, that was the plan.
Yeah, it was going to be Austin Triple H, but the other way around.
Yeah, the spin off, which I don't think would have worked.
Not as well as these.
Yeah. But anyway, the Dudley Boys are out with a different tag title. It's the WCW tag title. And they're going to be defending against 2 WWF teams. Who's booking these matches? It makes no sense. The APA are out first, followed by the Hardy Boys as JR.
Oh my God, proper tag teams.
Yeah. JR references pubs, says that APA probably have been drinking at some pubs. Not for the Hardys, though. I mean, I think they might like a drink.
Behind the pubs having a cheeky spliff, I think.
I think you might be having more than a spliff, old Jack.
Got a bag of potatoes.
It's winged back.
So, yes, the Dudley Boys are defending. Now, did they announce or tell you at all, because it shocked me at one point, that this was an elimination tag team match? Because I didn't know.
I can't remember it.
I don't think.
I didn't know it was, but it is.
Oh,
for the WCW title. Bubba wants to start off the match with Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy uses his pace to get a 2 counter after a side effect style clothesline. Bradshaw and Matt team up for a few seconds, and then Bradshaw DDTs the shit out of Matt Hardy. There's a big boot and a crack to Jeff, pun intended, and twisting DDT out the corner for a 2 by Matt. The Hardys hit a double suplex on Bradshaw. We want tables because we're British and we will cheer who the fuck we want. As the Dudleys seem to be more over than the other 2. Certainly, I think the tables are over. Let's put it that way. Farouk gets a 2 on a power slam, and Jeff survives a Dominator attempt to hit a drop kick. Devon Blind tags in and lays out Farouk with a neck breaker. He takes Farouk's nice spine buster, and Bradshaw is in to block the was up off the top. He then hits a Brett Rope fall away slam, which is massive. It's such a good move. The modified 3D, everyone in the pool. Matt hits a twist of fate on Farouk, gets a 3, and at this point I'm thinking, huh? They had a title change in the UK. That don't happen. But it is just an elimination. Basically, cutting the fat. Let's focus on the main 2 teams. Not sure you need to do that. But yeah. Oh, and then they give away the ending because they're just playing the Dudley Boys theme. Oh, sorry. play the Dudley Boys, so at that point I'd think, well, I think I might know who wins this.
We know anyway, but don't ruin it even more.
Let us live in the moment a little bit. The Hardys lay in double teamwork and a double suplex and fist drop. The Dudleys recover to jump Jeff, and Devon gets the table to a pop. It's baseball slid into his head. Bubba hits his Bubba Bomb, and Jeff is in trouble. The first, and to my knowledge, the only Triple Crown Tag Team Champions. Gotta be in it, because
I think so,
how many ECW champions is there?
Public Enemy.
Well, they definitely were winning the WWF.
Not the WWF.
So I can't think there's going to be any others. I'd have to look at the records, but I think they're probably the only ones. And they've won nearly every tag team.
Yeah,
TNA, NWA, IWGP.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones that could have was the Road Warriors if they'd have turned up in ECW, because they'd have just given them the belts, probably.
Well, they'd have just took the belts.
We're Road Warriors, we do what we want. Jeff is hung up and kicked down by Bubba. Jeff clocks him in the balls and hits the top rope Hurricane Rana. Matt makes a tag and brings the heat, hits the DDT on Bubba, and a leg drop to Devon. Power tree motion to Bubba. Jeff misses the second one.
Swanton.
And then goes up high for the Swanton, which misses. There's a 3D to Matt Hardy. And fairly cleanly, the Dudleys retain over the Hardys. Thoughts on that match, Sam?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, it was a bit jarring with the elimination. And then the Dudleys thing. Really, you could have kind of ended it there, really.
Yeah, you definitely could have. In fact, I did. I stopped after this match.
That's it. But yeah, it's a good triple threat tag match, and it's just nice to see proper tag teams for a change.
Yeah.
Instead of Big Show and Partner of the Week.
I do always struggle with the APA, especially when, and even here, like, you know, I don't. Dominant tag teams are really difficult to do, but when they have to then beat up the baby faces that they're supposed to be on the team of, it's always a bit weird. Why do anyone care about the WCW titles as well when the APA's MO is, you know, win better than WCW, fuck WCW. Now they want the WCW titles. Like, I'm probably thinking about it too much. It doesn't really matter. I think it's the strongest match so far, and it was a pretty strong tag team match in general. I think it could. This is probably the first match that we've seen that would have been fine on any of the other pay-per-views we've seen. You could maybe argue with the cage, but I didn't like the cage. Jack?
Logically, I hate it because it don't make sense that 2 WWF and 1 WCW or Alliance, whatever. It's Jekyll and Hyde because the triple threat element I hated, and I hate the fact that the Hardys eliminated the APA because we are on your team. Yeah. So why don't we eliminate the Alliance members and then fight for the titles ourselves? So yes, it's elimination.
I agree.
So I hated the start until they got eliminated, and then I loved the second part because the Dudleys and the Hardys are always going to work well together. The Dudleys are probably just about to go on the slide for the rest of their career at this point because this is their last good run as a team, I would say, or big run as a team. They could probably say it for the Hardys as well. But they were really that side of the match was really good. There's one moment that probably no one ever clocked, but I thought it was amazing. It made me laugh. Was they did the "We Want Tables" chant, and then Bubba's in. I think they didn't want to get the tables at this point, so Bubba just randomly shouts, "Here's your stinking tables," and then just does a double axe handle. And falls the full axe handle, and it just made me piss laughing because I thought. Bubba's made me laugh, which is brilliant.
Bubba's found his feet as a proper heel. And what annoys me is within a couple of months he's dancing Bubba around.
He's folding shirt Bubba.
He's not a face. No, I mean, he can get by as a Dudley Boy face. He can't get by as a fucking face on his own. I mean, look at the state of that man.
Like, it was the second half of the match. I thought was really good.
Yeah,
and could slot
once we got rid of APA.
And you know the APA's fault. It's just you shouldn't be here. You should be off fighting, fucking build a bottle.
I agree. Heyman has become a Dudley. He's got the Dudley Boys glasses on as JR recaps the issues between Jericho and Rock. and them losing the tag team titles. Did you notice who got the pinfall win over over Rock?
Test
with a pinfall win over Taker to win the titles and a pinfall win over Rock. Paul Booker T. He's a 2-time tag team champion in WWE at this point, and he hasn't got a pinfall on anyone.
Test.
For fuck's sake. Vince has got a nice brown leather jacket, as he said.
It's weird. Like a brown shirt.
He just doesn't.
He looks like a turd.
Casual Vince should always be that stupid, like, you know, when he went 2003, when he went all
Hawaiian shirt.
Some of Vince is great, but brown leather shirt.
Yeah, autumn's collection Vince is not. He sits between both of them and negotiates a truce, tells them to shake hands. They do, but there's a load of tension, and then Jericho spoils it all, telling Rock not to lose the big one again. So Rock just punches him in the mouth and they have a fight. JR's very let down. I feel very let down by both men.
I like that. I thought it
was the biscuits.
I thought it was too good for Rebellion. I really like
it was good. He was wasted on this segment. I mean, you could argue the main event, just in general, is such a weird. When are we going to do our rematch from Mania? Rebellion. Fuck off.
Just give it here. No one knows it's happening.
William Regal's out. Now, I think this is a fairly rare version of his theme. I can't remember this sort of version of the theme.
What, the party theme?
It's not the... No, it's... I'll play it to you later, but it's like... I think it's got bits of Mr. Perfect kind of theme in it as well.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I know he went through a bit of change before he got the
Bond villain.
It is sort of a version of that, but it's definitely not a version you hear.
And then it goes. It starts like that, and then it goes more into like.
It's sort of a mixture of the two. Because he did have that in early 2002. Because he had it at the Rumble when he beat Edge. So. Pretty sure he's
Mania. Does he become the IC champion then?
Yeah. Brass box Regal.
Yeah. They do start to make him a bit more menacing though over the next few years and stuff.
Want to grow up and be like William Regal one day? Hell no. What an inspiration is this man. What a leader of the people.
It's wonderful to be back here in England. And it's wonderful to know that some of you have spent your hard-earned money, most of you your dole money, to come and see me to perform tonight. I see all of you smiling away, all looking at me, envious because I am your role model. Thank you.
I told you. That didn't sound very...
And what better role model could you have for your children? You wouldn't want someone like David Beckham. You certainly wouldn't want anybody from Manchester United. Because if you did, your young children would be spending time in strange ways up the street.
Damn. That's a local prison.
He takes the microphone as Heyman references Tony Blair. He suggests that all the fans have spent all their hard-earned doll money to come out to see him because he is their role model. He suggests you won't want a role model like David Beckham or anyone from Manchester United. And everyone goes, boo!
Jemba.
Uwe Rosler. He references Strange Ways up the road, which is a prison in Manchester for anyone who doesn't know. And Tajiri is out with our Cruiserweight title. I haven't referenced the Cruiserweight title. Was he just the Cruiserweight, or had he won it recently? Or
well, X-Pac sort of had
X-Pac had both at SummerSlam.
Then I think Tajiri beat him for it,
and then they forgot about it.
Dave and having it. No mercy.
No, that's what I mean. But I know he
was champion.
I don't even look to see when he won the title, which is always how much it
Because
is.
the light heavyweights just quietly got rid of.
Is that dead? There's no.
I think when X-Pac got injured there, I think that's something like that. They just went, well, that's dead now.
We've got the cruiserweights.
When has Jerry Lynn already held the light
yeah, he's already held. He held it at the beginning.
Jerry Lynn there defence.
No, he stays
through and through.
Which is mad, isn't it? Really? Why? I mean, he obviously has got no time for Jerry Lynn, has he been?
No, why did they just give him an RVD match?
Because Jerry Lynn to me is such a steady-handed, lower card WWF guy.
Yeah,
and they just didn't. They went, you're even lower than that. So much so, we're not even going to use you at all.
You can't even get on that show with Rico in the Alliance.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry weren't even there. We're not even paying for you to turn up. Poor Jerry Lynn. Regal versus Tajiri, the match we probably should have had last month. Regal hooks up with Tajiri as the crowd give him some shit. Tajiri gives him a kick to the face and head scissors takedown. 2 big kicks, one to the ribs and one to the head, which actually pops Heyman because he's so stiff. Regal sends Tajiri into the ring post, though. There's some smart marks chanting for Regal as he uses the ring apron to punish Tajiri. Back inside, Tajiri hits a back body drop and a standing moonsault for a 2. There's a big knee to the head by Regal, and then he catches and dumps Tajiri on the top rope. He heals it up by using his heel on the face of Tajiri. And then Tajiri recovers with a hand chest.
It's just
chop.
a double chop.
Yeah, double
really
chop to the
hard,
chest. I don't know why I wrote it like that. And it is really hard because you can see the welts after. And a top rope drop kick. There's a handspring back elbow and a tarantula, which again Heyman does massive sell on. He misses the moonsault though, and he immediately goes to the Regal stretch. He's locked in. Tajiri wasting no time tapping out, but he does get his heat back as he spits the mist in Regal's face after the match. Jack, thoughts on this match?
Yeah, solid, strong, as I would expect from these two. They're going to be snog. They're going to hit me hard. I don't care.
They both.
I shall take it. I'm a bit annoyed that we never really got it on an important thing because they were such a good tandem together as a comedy duo, and they never really blew off Regal versus Tajiri on TV, did they? I can't remember.
I don't even think they ever picked up, really.
Oh, did they fight at Survivor Series? Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, do they? Oh, good. No, that's good.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
we know
I hope they do it at Survivor Series.
No one gets fired. It's
It's pointless anyway. But it was okay. I probably would have preferred Tajiri going over, if I'm honest with you.
Bit more time would have been nice. Bit more storyline development would have been nice, but obviously we might get that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I love Tajiri, I love Regal. I think both of them could exist in any era in wrestling. Tajiri maybe less so early, but both of them could definitely go now and be big players. I was the same as you, bit sort of sad that it was kind of a throwaway 5-minute match, fourth on the card in Rebellion. And I would have wished they would have maybe done more to ham up Regal being a real, hometown sort of I hate England now or something. I don't know.
It's always the way with Regal. He still tries to come over here and be a heel, but we cheer him anyway. No matter
Well,
what.
if he'd have spent 10 minutes referencing Morecambe and Wise, I would have been happy. Put it that way.
I don't mind the match, as you say. It's a bit strange to have it over here, like the first match of the breakup, and it's a shame that they did break them up because they was two of the best things on telly at the time.
I love Regal. Regal as commissioner. I mean, obviously Foley's a good commissioner, but Regal for me is the best commissioner there's ever had. Table. I always, when I think of commissioners, I think of Regal with his table and Tajiri next to him. Yeah. That works. It's always going to work. God damn it. Do it forever.
What do you need to do tonight to take the WCW Championship from Chris Jericho?
Before I start with Y2J, I'd like to share an observation, Michael. For the past hour and a half, I've been watching the audience at the Manchester Evening News Arena. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say they look like escapees from Strange Ways prison. Now back to Y2J. What a silly nickname, Y2J. Y stands for the color yellow, which runs down Jericho's back. And 2 stands for a number, like when a little boy has to go to the bathroom. Which number is it, Johnny? Is it number 1 or is it number 2? And J stands for jerk. That's right. Y2J. It's so Mickey Mouse. MICKEYMOUSE. You see these, Michael? These aren't Mickey Mouse. These are Olympic gold medalists. And I won't be satisfied being the only Olympic gold medalist in WWF history. So tonight, Jericho, I'm coming after your gold. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Moving on then, we get Angle cutting a heel promo saying the crowd looked like escapees from Strange Ways. Hang on, have I not heard that before? Did you not talk to each other and just get your shit together? He mocks Y2J's name. He says Y is for yellow because he's yellow. 2 is because of the number 2, and that's something to do with pooing. And J is for jerk. Oh, Angle. He's coming after the goal tonight.
Yeah, it was bad, wasn't it? Really bad. I felt uncomfortable during this promo.
Yeah,
He's done his own material at the table.
Yeah.
That's it.
Who's doing the writing over here? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. Our ring walks for the WCW title match as the rightful number 1 contender for the US, so for the WCW title, is the US champion. That's how it should always be, isn't it? It's Angle.
So you could have had Rock meet and Jerry at one point.
Should have happened. Should. And Canyon. Should have happened. Jericho lays in a back elbow and a spinning heel kick as our champ starts well. 3 amigos from Jericho, which gets a 2. I didn't realise he did that move. Kurt Angle recovers with a released German suplex and both men tease their finishers. We spill outside and chops a lady by both men before Angle is thrown into the steel steps. There's a top rope crossbody for a 2. Jericho avoids an ankle lock and sends Angle repeatedly into the ring post. The shoulder work continues with a shoulder breaker. Angle recovers to Hangman Jericho and then hits a belly to belly. Kurt avoids Jericho's ankle lock attempt and hits another belly to belly on a dive. Angle gets a 2 on a suplex and we go to rest hold. Jericho rallies a little to build heat, getting a near fall then clothesline down. Angle works Jericho towards the ankle lock, but Jericho hits an enziguri. You get another double down. Jericho rallies first. He hits a 2 on an Hurricane Rana, manages to roll through and lock in his own ankle lock, but Angle makes the ropes. Angle counters, locks in an ankle lock, but that's reversed into the whirls of Jericho. Jericho goes for the lion salt, but Angle gets his knees up. There's an Angle slam attempt, but it's countered into a roll-up, and Jericho steals a win over Angle. Angle gets his heat back as well after the match, hitting multiple Angle slams. Sam, thoughts on this?
The match was alright. Obviously, these 2 always work well together. It's just... Why is Angle in the alliance?
I don't know. I think the steam is lost, though, because of that, because Angle's so comfortable as a heel, but like the crowd are just feeling him out again, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, to me, there was nothing to criticise because it's Jericho and Angle, but it was just a match. Like, if we had watched this in front of 4 people at the NIA, not filmed, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Told its story. Maybe they could have got Jericho over a bit stronger, but what's the point? Angle needs something as well. They firmly are the 2. You know, the B show, you know what I mean? So for me, it was okay, but nothing special. Probably belonged on this show.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You like that cage match?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it purely because character-wise, Jericho doesn't need to be fighting Angle, and Angle needs to be fighting like a Spike for me.
Yeah, getting over as...
you are just heel. And for the audience, we've seen it later, because we were showing it later at that point.
Yeah.
So we might not have even seen it.
That would
by
have
this
been weird
point.
for people, wouldn't it?
Why he's heel. Like, some people might not have seen it because it wasn't out until Friday. I don't think Raw over here.
No, not over.
So, and it was the day after this rebellion for us. So some people might not have known. But I didn't like the dynamic of that. Like you say, I think people are still figuring out Angle as a heel. And because of that, it really hampers the match, if that's a word, between him and Jericho, because Jericho's been playing a heel.
Yeah.
So Jericho's sort of the heel of the WWF, but we've got to cheer him. And Angle was the hero of the WWF, but now he's Alliance since Monday. But for you UK people, since yesterday.
Yeah.
So the match feels off. I would have preferred because there's nothing overly wrong with what they do, but it just, I couldn't get into it at all. I would have preferred Angle to just beat the piss out of a Spike Dudley, and I would have preferred Jericho to have a Booker T or somebody like that. But I just thought I couldn't get into it because of that reason. And I still hate Angle in the Alliance, and I always will.
Yeah, but I mean, that round table thing with all
well, that was okay, but even that was a bit like, well, this Alliance, though, it just feels like, why are we doing this now?
Just end the
Just
Alliance.
wait for
They should have got round that table and said, look, the Alliance is over.
We call it on Tommy Dream.
Yeah, we've left them all back.
There's only Rico doing his job.
Tonight, you take on Stone Cold Steve Austin with the WWF Championship on the line, but I have to ask you, how can you possibly concentrate on this match with all that's been going on between you and Chris Jericho in recent weeks?
For once, Michael Cole, you've asked an intelligent question, an intriguing question. And it's just that very reason, Michael Cole, that makes you one of the leading men, one of the leading journalists in the business today.
Well, thank you, Rock.
No. Thank you, Michael Cole. Thank you. Because you see, The Rock understands exactly where you're coming from with that question. You see, The Rock understands how you just woke up this morning and you said, how can Michael Cole concentrate, holding a microphone, standing next to the great one, while all along, the only thing I'm worried about is going to the local pub and getting a piece of that English pie. Well, actually, Michael Cole, in a case like yours, you're probably not worried about the English pie. You're probably worried about going to the local cabaret and getting a piece of that English strudel. So which is it, Michael Cole? Is it the English pie? Or is it the strudel? Which way do you swing? It doesn't matter which way you swing. The only thing that matters, and The Rock means only thing that matters is The Rock walking down the people's ramp. The Rock is not going to crawl. He's going to walk down the people's ramp. The Rock is not going to run. He's going to walk down the people's ramp, get in the ring, lay the smack down, become WWF champion all over Stone Cold's candy ass, all over Manchester. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Rock is interviewed by Cole backstage. He gives credit to Cole for asking correct questions about his issues with Jericho. And then he calls him one of the leading journalists in the WWF. He suggests that Michael Cole may have been looking for some English pie, or perhaps he was looking for some English strudel. He basically asks Michael Cole which way he swings, and then he says he's going to whoop Stone Cold's ass in Manchester. It's funny, but of its time, very much, and it's definitely in Rock's black book of promos. It's one of the ones at the back in terms of effort. It's fine. It's Rock. He's taking the piss out of little Michael Cole. But it's
Wouldn't it have been better if it was Chavo?
possibly, you know.
Seeing
Yeah,
as they're there and their alliance.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. And they have
I
flown
hate
Cole
them
all the way
hating the
over
women
just for that, really.
Yeah, exactly. He was perving on Lita and
No.
Trish and all that.
Good point. Trish is out with the in a ref shirt for our next match. Our heels are out first, and we're basically ready for our Let Me Up match. There is other names available for this match. I'll leave you to work out what it was. Kevin Dunn focuses a little too long on the Shag Me Lita sign in the crowd.
Oh, yeah. Shag Me Lita.
Brilliant.
Shag.
Unfortunately...
I like that you use the word shag as well.
Yeah, it's such a British...
Shag.
Yeah.
Have a shag.
Have a shag. I mean, unfortunately, the wife chose one match to watch with me, having to be the tits and arse match. None of the wrestlers get their stuff in. Our non-wrestlers rather get their stuff in early on, which basically is cartwheels. Tori hits a drop kick. Lita hits a weak-looking slam. There's a belly-to-back suplex. I mean, basically, JR says it's now more even that Tori's back in the match with Stacey.
Yeah.
Might as well say the two shittens and back together. Molly lays in a few elbows and tags out, which is a shame because Molly can work. Stacey shows off her leg choke in the corner. There's a double camel clutch sort of crab spot on the heels. Tori takes a backbreaker, avoids a Molly go round. Lita in for the hot tag, hits the head scissors. There's a nice spot where Molly clotheslines out of Poetry Emotion. Again, two workers. Tori catapults Molly into Stacey, and then she bounces into the Twist of Fate, and it is over. Stacey isn't happy with Trish, so Trish gives her, well, I'll call it a bulldog.
Yeah, it's a bulldog.
Yeah, it's basically full to the match.
I've not figured out the stratisfaction yet, so
Yes.
we'll just do a bulldog.
Oh, I mean, unfortunately, there probably wasn't enough tits and arse for this to sort of not get the treatment of being judged for a match, which means we normally give a lot of leniency to the LVP going to the women, but you might have to consider this one later on because there weren't enough Molly, there weren't enough Lita, there was far too much Stacey. Tori tries her best, bless her, but neither of them are very good. Nothing to remember, nothing too offensive, but it was crap. It was. I can't defend this. It was crap.
5 stars.
I like Molly Holly, and I like the Molly go round. Lita's just a pop machine, really. She gets the pops, does the spots.
Yeah. All right, great. Either.
No, Lita's never been that good.
No,
though.
right.
I like the part, like that move where she nearly broke herself in half.
Yeah. Oh, no.
2004.
Yeah. Know your fucking limits, Lita. You cannot do that move. You are not Daniel Bryan. Yeah, I ain't a big fan of Lita. Jack?
Bit shit. Molly needed more time in it, but it's hard because Tori and Stacey are absolutely diabolical, really, at this point. And it ain't their fault.
No, they get better. They get better.
They're all wrestlers and we're making them wrestle. I've always said, with the women, you've got to have wrestlers, and if you want the tits and arse, they shouldn't be wrestling, they should just be the ballet, tits and arse, whatever.
Or just have your rip-off shirts, that's all you've got to do.
They ain't got to be in matches. No one's watching Tori to be in a match. She's a valet and all that. Molly's a wrestler.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
let her wrestle. And Lita isn't a great wrestler, but she's out. She can be led by Molly Holly. Tori Wilson can't at this point. And Stacey, I don't know. She just does the leg thing in a cartwheel, but she does them well. But it's not a great match. Trish should have been in it really because Trish is the warrior.
Well, did she just sort of come back from injury or something?
Possibly.
Because it feels like
she's just been disappeared, hasn't she? Really, since
a lot of the women did, except for Tori and Stacey.
Yeah, it just feels like this division is missing.
It wasn't a focal point.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. And like you said, I think because it was less about titillation and more about actual wrestling, you do have to then criticise a bit more than you really would.
Yeah, if you're just ripping the top off, then I can't really criticise you. You achieved your rip-off top. Sam, anything to add?
It should have just been a one-on-one with Molly and Lita. Even having Trish as the ref, you could spin a story off that, considering where it goes at Survivor Series, you know. You can lead into that,
Well, I
and
just
Aaron
think-
Lita's never-ending feud.
Without knowing where Hurricane was, he was still sort of playing heel. You know, you've got Lance Storm with Ivory, who wasn't on the other show either, Lance Storm. That's weird. Must have been carrying a little bit of an injury. And you've got Hurricane with Mighty Molly, and maybe you could have had a sort of dissension angle to get the two workers together. Lita, I do get. You send Lita over, she gets a pop, you know.
Yeah.
And you probably could have got the same thing with Mighty Molly. I feel sorry for Tori and Stacey because they just, you know, if they weren't women and they were this standard, the men wouldn't be wrestling on shows. Like Rico's not on the show, and Randy Orton and Brock and stuff. They're back doing the dark matches in a protected. Whereas Stacey and Tori, because they're women and they're pretty, it's like, well, you must now go and have a tag team match.
Yeah.
We cannot do much more than a handstand, but. You know, it is a shame, and they do get better, but at this point, it's not great.
Not there.
Rock and Austin's history then, as we go from Mania to now. They do ignore the Vince McMahon handshake. There's a lot of the My Way video, which is used to sort of build up to this mega match for a C-Show pay-per-view. Stone Cold is out first. You know what I think of that? Boo. Boo. Don't like that. Stone Cold won't let Rock do his corner poses though, and he jumps Rock in the corner. Rock recovers, hitting the neck breaker and the tease of the rock bottom. We spill outside. Rock spits the water in the face of Austin. There's lots of brawling over the announce desk. Rock clotheslines Austin outside again, and we head up the rampway. The lighting is crap, but eventually they get a spotlight to see Austin take a suplex and then a backdrop after a pile driver attempt. Rock explodes off the apron to hit a clothesline, and Rock has been pretty dominant until Austin catapults Rock into the steel post. Earl desperately tries to get Austin off a choke on the ropes, and Austin mugs off the crowd with a middle finger after stopping himself from crotching on the middle rope. Rock flops onto the announce desk, and Rock low blows to avoid going through it. Austin does use the announce desk though to punish Rock hitting a front suplex. Earl and Austin now get a subbing match and both flip each other off as Austin hits a Luthez press and then gives the crowd a bunch of middle fingers on an elbow drop. Rock recovers, hits his own Luthez press and does his own version of Austin's middle finger elbow, but this time to Austin. Austin manages to lock in a sleeper though, and after a few minutes, Rock escapes. He locks in one of his own, but it's quickly jawbreaking away in a spine buster. Austin gets a 2. Austin now locks in a Boston Crab, but after about another 2 minutes, Rock makes the ropes. Double down on a clothesline, big belly-to-belly throw by Rock, gets a 2. Early's taken out, and Austin taps out on Rock's awful sharpshooter. Austin locks in one of his own, which is pretty bad as well. Angle is out. He cracks Rock with a chair to the back. Jericho comes out, takes out Angle, but Rock recovers. Seeing Jericho with the chair, he's not happy. He lays out Jericho. There's a big rock bottom to get the visual win. Angle's back in, but he's handled. People's elbow is teased, but Angle trips. He trips Rock and then clocks him in the belt. Rock bounces into a Stone Cold Stunner, and Austin covers for the win. Sam, thoughts on the moment?
It was a typical British show main event, and this obviously had the best. It's the forgotten Rock Austin match.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it just they feel right.
I actually thought that it was pretty solid. It's not Rock Austin, it's not, it's not your rematch, but it is what it is. I actually thought it was probably one of the only matches where the quality of it would have meant that it could have been a main event on any of the shows that we've watched so far. And I mainly mean that because the ending was so good, because it kept the focal point on the story you wanted to tell. Really, you can get away with all the alliance crap. This is two baby faces, 2 heels, one baby face. The 2 baby faces are sort of fighting. The alliance doesn't really factor into anything that's happening here, other than they are aligned. But I thought he'd probably take everything else out of this pay-per-view, and you just watch the last 5 minutes. Probably has progressed the storyline a little bit in that it's showing that Angle and Austin are a bit aligned and Rock and Jericho aren't. That's the story I'm telling. Jack?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was all right. You know, I was into it all the way through. I weren't taken out of it. I weren't sitting there thinking this is a C show.
it was the right time.
They both worked well together, as you would expect. It's Rock and Austin. So I enjoyed it. I expected all the shenanigans. That's what you're going to get with an Attitude Era main event, but that's what you want.
Yes.
And like you, I don't mind the Jericho and Rock continuing the friction. And I like the fact that Angle is aligned with Austin and they're on the same page and the alliance seems stronger now, even though it's just WWF. But the heel seems stronger than the baby faces going into the show, but obviously only us and Singapore see it. So there's only us who know.
Obviously, it's always difficult to be too critical about these sort of pay-per-views, but overall thoughts on the pay-per-view, Sam?
It was a typical British show, really.
Yeah.
That's all you can say.
Well, I'll put that. It's a typical UK pay-per-view. The problem, I think, is that they don't recognise that this is a strong enough card for them to actually do a bit more with the angles, but they do sort of choose the path of least resistance and focus on the last 5 minutes and everything else doesn't matter. If this main event wasn't on the show, this show would have really suffered. You'd have struggled to pick out a lot of value in it. But it's worth watching the show or watching the last 5 minutes of the show if you choose. But yeah, it's okay. It probably, if you're lining up all of these shows, it probably is in the top half of the ones that have happened in the UK. Jack?
It's a really easy watch. It's only 2 hours. It's, it's important. Like, you can miss it and you wouldn't even know it happened. But if you've got 2 hours and you just want something easy, non-offensive, pretty to throw it on in the background wrestling, then
there's Raws that are longer than this.
Yeah, I could recommend this Rebellion because it's really easy and there's a lot of star power. But you ain't going to come away really remembering anything.
The truth is, the sadness of the Alliance storyline is that I would like to say, well, you don't have to watch this because of the Alliance storyline, but we probably could say that about most pay-per-views.
Nothing matters.
Nothing seems to matter on the pay-per-view, and everything seems to happen on the odd Raw, where the title changes or someone gets soaked in milk. Match of the night then, Sam?
I'm going to go Regal Tajiri.
Well, you're crazy, you are.
I don't dislike it. I've gone Austin Rock.
I've got Austin Rock.
Yeah. Where's my?
It's got to be the women's match.
Yeah.
It's one of the few times you can't
ignore it. Yeah, I can't ignore it. I've put the women's tag.
Yeah, I'm going to go with them as well. Bless them.
MEP.
Molly Holly.
It's a good shot. I thought
That's segment that you've got a worse match with an MVP.
Well, the segment, and she tried her absolute heart out.
She's carried it.
I'm going to go Austin.
Yeah, I'm going to go Austin. I thought he really did. He didn't.
I love
he didn't fight like it was a C show. He fought like it mattered, a big match. Yeah. And I did like the 4-corner flip off.
Yeah,
that was quite funny.
LVP. I think it's easy, this one for me. And he's got big gold white teeth, and his name's DDP because.
There's him. There's Angle, Alliance Angle.
At least he comes out slightly strong at the end because he's on the right side.
I'm going to go APA.
Fair enough, yeah. Farouk especially because he lost and Dudley's music played. So.
I'm going to go commentary because I think it was.
Nearly put the commentary.
That was really good. They've been really good throughout, but I think here they just really did phone it in. I think Heyman probably tried a little bit more than JR.
Yeah, I agree. JR
just phoned it in.
JR was doing his AEW Dynamite. JR,
We're on a rampage. Friday night, Dynamite, WWE Dynamite, Markle. We're not an insurrection, it's rebellion.
So, yes, there you have it. We are there. We're at the pinnacle now. We can see it.
We've got through it.
We've got through it, and after it, nothing mattered. We've already established that. But we have reached Survivor Series, and winner takes all. We will be back for that, but before we do, we all took a little stop in jolly old England. Will our storyline stop, or will we go balls to the wall Maybe even bring in balls, who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Balls at the wall.
Balls
and
the wall.
That's
balls
a team.
to the wall.
Oh.
What a team. This rebooking is easy. Sam's completed it.
Get your pen.
Yes. But as Jack rounded out our rebooking last episode, I think I'm going to open up with you. Let's go to jolly old England with you. Just give us a little bit of a recap of what happened at Halloween Havoc.
Recap, DDP... Oh, hello. DDP diamond cutted Shane and left through the crowd, so DDP is now... well, is he WWF? Who knows?
No.
Booker T beat up Scott Steiner to cost the WCW title, and The Rock retained.
Yes.
Rock, Vince faced off with Shane and Austin to end the show, and there was a crow in the rafters. Oh my god. So, basically, in the little bit that happens in between this pay-per-view, all that happens is Vince, I'm tired of the salad scrap, because I like that moment. So him and Shane have a sit down and have a talk, basically, and they've agreed that it's all going to end because Sting is, no one knows, neither of them know why Sting's here. Neither of them have hired him or anything. Well, they assume it's Sting. It could be Raven just playing games because of the crow. But anyway, it's neither of them know. But they agree to a match at Survivor Series. Now, Shane agrees to it at one condition that he can name. They agree to a team match, but Shane says, I'll agree to it on one condition, that it's an old staple of the WCW, which is going to be War Games.
Right.
So it's going to be a War Games match between WWF and the Alliance at Survivor Series. And Rebellion, because England are very famous for their wars, aren't they?
Yes,
and we're very good at winning them. And
Rule Britannia!
The British love a war. So, at Rebellion, we're going to have 7 matches with the winning side. There's 8 matches, but one of them don't count. The winning side gets advantage
in War Games.
In the War Games. So it don't really
heels
matter.
win. That always
Exactly. So we know the heels win, so you ain't gonna watch it.
You might as well play that theme.
Know that the heels are gonna win and the Alliance are gonna win, but it gives at least something for us.
Yeah,
so, match 1 is Alliance member Lance Storm versus WWF member Chris Jericho.
Yep.
Nice opener. They know each other. It's going to be a good match. Jericho wins 1-0 WWF. Match 2, the Hurricane versus Spike Dudley. It's happened every show, I think. I love that match. So the Hurricane wins 1-1.
Yep.
Match 3, the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. Going to be a good match.
Yep.
Alliance win 2-1. Match 4, Steve Corino versus William Regal. He's a face. England, yay. But now you lose. Steve Corino wins 3-1. So we're 3-1 going into 3-1 going into the break. Because they're at a break, but the break is the women's match basically. Because match 5 is the 6 women that are going to be in the 6-pack match at Survivor Series to crown the new women's champion.
Yep.
Which does happen, but I think I've changed them. But I might not have because I don't know who's in it. So it's Jazz, Molly and Ivory for Team Alliance versus Trish, Lita and Tori for Team WWF. Team WWF win. This isn't part of the War Games though, because women, they don't war, do they? Cat fat! So, they're up 3-1, basically, the Alliance going into the last 3 matches.
Okay.
Scott Steiner versus Booker T. Booker T is Team WWF. He joined at the end of Halloween Havoc. He clocked Steiner, and then Vince has accepted him into the WWF. So Booker T wins by disqualification.
Right.
Because of Scott Steiner's a mad bastard. So he's going to start smashing Booker with a chair or something. Shane's going to have a promo backstage where he's going to be angry with Steiner because it's 3-2 now. We could have won it all with just this one win, but instead we've got to go into another match, which is now Rhino for Team Alliance versus Kurt Angle for Team WWF.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle wins. So it's 3-3. We're into the main event. It is going to happen. It is going to matter. It's Stone Cold versus The Rock, of course. Because it's England. You can have that match and Stone Cold's going to win. Team Alliance get the advantage in the War Games. Going into
So it's Survivor Series War Games.
Survivor Series War Games.
Ooh, very nice. There you have it then.
That's it.
No signings?
No, not for England. You're mad.
Could have a Bulldog.
Bulldog.
Dynamite.
Where's my title from?
Whose side is he on?
I could have had Norman Smiley, but I've not.
That's true.
I think he was on a contract.
Beautiful. Right, so mine. Sting's got rock bottomed by The Rock. Kevin Nash lost to Stone Cold. Stone Cold retained. Infighting between WCW and ECW is reaching fever pitch. What are we going to do? It's all going wrong. So yes, a few weeks with a few weeks till Rebellion, Vince would be at odds with The Rock, saying he made a play for Sting and he'd assigned him. Rock would want Austin at Rebellion for the WWE title. So would Jericho. He would want the title as well. So a battle royal would happen to determine the number one contender at Rebellion, which The Rock would win. Taker and Kane would invade the Alliance show to take down Angle, who will be backed up by his new muscle. They're here. It's Chronic.
Oh
yes.
Oh.
With Angle, because he can do all the work. RVD and Regal would get into a feud over respect for RVD. So again, RVD and Regal are on WWF, but they're having Regal's a heel within the WWF product, if that makes sense. Obviously, you've got Shane Helms, who keeps telling 3 Count he's not the Hurricane and he wants to be part of 3 Count. So ECW Bischoff agrees to this a 6-man tag, and it's the Hardy Boys and Hurricane versus 3 Count at Rebellion. I'd love this rebooking just for 3 Count and Hurricane. And what else is happening? Dudley Boys have taken out Buff Bagwell. They got pissed off with him. Yeah, through a table. So Scott Steiner.
Oh no!
Yeah, we know where we're going.
There's a dog-faced gremlin appearing.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I've done it differently. I put Chronic, but I was going to rebook Chronic out, but I'll keep Chronic. I've said it now. So yes. So basically, where are we? ECW and WCW's alliance is crumbling. Heyman and Bischoff now are complete distinct camps, both vying for Austin's trust, but you can tell Austin trusts Heyman way more than he does Bischoff. Both would make contact with The Rock, though, behind Austin's back to see where Rock stands, especially because he's just rock bottom Sting.
Yeah.
Ooh. Stinky bastards. Stinky bastards. Right, Rebellion opens. It's Regal going on. British, yes. Manchester United. And he loses to RVD. The Dudley Boys face the APA for the Unified Tag Team Champions. There's no double Tag Team Champions for me. Dudley Boys retain. Scott Steiner comes out with, oh yes, Rick's here. So we're set up for... We're set up for Survivor Series. It's the Steiners and the Dudleys.
Is he with Judy Bagwell as well? I've gone with Buff's mom.
I've still got 1 month to sign someone. You know, she might be the last one. Who knows? DDP versus Rhino, ECW TV title, and I'm going to put Rhino back with the belt. I think do a hot potato on that title. The Hurricane and Hardy Boys versus 3 Count match now. Shane Helms comes out with 3 Count. Hardys are out. Obviously, this proves it. Tajiri gets involved in the match. Spews mist into the eyes of Hurricane Helms. Shane Helms, not Hurricane. He's taken to the back. He's blinded. He's out of the match. And then all of a sudden, Hurricane comes at the end, and he jumps off, leaps off, covers Shannon Moore. Hurricane is here, but he's protected his identity. Well, I was going to do some under the ring shit, but
it's green mist.
Green mist, exactly. I don't know why I had to get Tindiri involved. Really, I was going to have him in the match, but whatever. Test during the night survives 2 attacks, one from Carino and one from Raven. They're trying to steal back their hardcore title. Test prevails. Big boot! Edge versus Christian. I think I'm going to blow it off here. No ladder because there's no title, but I'm going to have Edge going over Christian. Kane, Taker have found a third man. It's the big show, and they're going up against Angle and Chronic. Oh my god, that big bastard! He's always been WCW, and he chokeslams Taker and has joined WCW on the last knockings. And then obviously our main event is Rock versus Austin in a Smoz ending because Rock is about to win, but Sting drops from the rafters, drops the Rock. Austin then thinks, well, he's obviously on Alliance. He drops Austin. And then Vince comes out and he drops Vince. You bastard. You fucking bastard. Shane returns and Sting and Shane are together. That's how it ends. Oh my god, Bischoff's looking worried. Shane's back.
with Sting.
Shane and Sting, the team.
Is he painted up?
Yeah.
You don't need to.
And Sting turns to him and he goes, "You alright, cuz?" And then that's how the show ends.
Like Snoop Dogg!
It's Snoop Sting!
What a trio.
Sting Dog.
And that is how my overbooked, convoluted rebellion is ended. Chronic.
Beat that, Sam.
Right.
If there ain't no Horace Hogan.
There's no Horace Hogan.
I love the fact that
I've paid him to stay away.
you paid for Jarrett and I paid for Rick Steiner. Jack is better with his money.
I was
Kept my money.
tempted to bring in Rick Steiner, but I don't want to go against me rebooking for Scott Steiner before, so I thought I'd leave that. Where am we? Austin's still world champ. Jericho is now WCW champ, fully blown heel.
Yes.
The Brothers of Destruction are the tag champs now. Mike Awesome's still Intercontinental. Heyman's still trying to help Vince with ECW guys. Vince is getting more and more pissed off because it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Kidman's the cruiserweight still. Jeff Jarrett cost Angle the WCW title against Jericho.
Yes.
Lance Storm's still the European. That's more like the wrestling belt.
The wrestling belt.
Like that. I'm trying to think what other feuds I got because I'm going back to Now Mercy. I'll just go through the build up to it because some of this is leading to Rebellion, but also kind of mentioning Survivor Series. So obviously, Jarrett cost Angle the WCW title to give that a feud there. Heyman's still trying to help Vince to get the IC off Awesome with ECW guys. Vince is getting more unhappy with the failures, so he says, "You've got one last chance at Rebellion."
Yeah,
for it, but because I don't trust you, I'm going to book a number one contenders battle royal at Rebellion. Winner fights Awesome at Survivor Series.
Yeah,
or the IC champ at Survivor Series. More on that later. Bischoff adds his guys to the IC title battle royal because obviously he thinks, well, Vince will just put his people in, so I'm going to add mine. So.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. Well, I think we don't do anything there. Heyman sort of helped. He's got the pick somebody to fight Awesome at Rebellion. That's when Vince says, "This is your last chance at Rebellion."
That confused me. But I get it now.
Yeah, so then, like, again, he's like, your guys, my guys, whatever. Both Vince and Bischoff, again, you always see them together arguing, but sometimes they agree, but they're like sideways looking at each other. But they both agree, maybe it's time to bring back the women's title at Survivor Series, which will be a 6-pack challenge.
Yes.
At Rebellion, you'll see 5 of the women in 2 separate matches. One of them hasn't been bought in. Spoiler, it'll be Jazz. I'll keep that booking from Survivor Series anyway.
Yeah. Did this happen at Survivor Series?
The 6-pack.
Jazz comes in.
Yeah, Jazz comes in.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
she comes in there
the debut and loses a job.
Yeah.
She do.
She do.
Oh, I don't realise
Yeah, that's when the debut.
Because when they cut back to the Alliance,
Jazz is right. Jazz is like front, really rightly at the front.
Well, quite rightly. I mean, it was her first night. She sacked. It's like Jazz.
Brilliant.
After the No Mercy hardcore match between Shane Helms and RVD, Shane Helms, they say he's been acting a bit strange because he might have had a kick to the head or something. So he's starting to act like a superhero because obviously he's got his Green Lantern thing. He's starting to believe it.
Yeah.
So it's a way of getting the Hurricane in. The McMahons are unhappy. Obviously, they've decided Bischoff's fate, but they're saying, Vince, you're just as mental. and the WF ain't big enough for both of you. So they say at Survivor Series you're both going to pick teams, and the winner is the owner of the WF. Linda's taking back the CEO at Survivor Series, but because they say we do like some of the stuff you've done, Bischoff, but it's clear you can't work together.
We like Buff. We ain't sure about anything else.
That's what they like. They got rid of it. So that's what they've decided to do. It's Team Bischoff v Team McMahon.
Yes.
Regal asks for another chance at the European, but he is denied because obviously it was his last chance and he lost.
Yeah.
But to the next challenger for Lance Storm, and there's a reason for this, it's just incredible because that was a tag team in ECW and the Impact players. So. And I think Credible can have an okay match when he's led.
As long as you keep him away from the source. So
he's alright. But again, he just gets Just Incredible on it. Match against Lance Storm.
I think Just Incredible is on my Survivor Series card and hasn't appeared on anything else.
This is the first time he's here. The next line, again, I wrote this earlier. Buff fired by Bischoff after the loss.
Yeah.
So obviously they're just saying
Vince hiring.
No. The Brothers of Destruction. No, hang on. I'll mention that bit on the Rebellion because it leads to it. Bam Bam then asks for a hardcore title shot against RVD because RVD beat him for the TV title in ECW.
Okay.
So that's when he had his long run. So he goes, I've been waiting all this time. You've wanted somebody. Obviously, he talks to Bischoff.
Yeah.
You want someone to take this belt. Give me, because I've been waiting all this time for it. So at least he gives Bigelow something on his own.
Yeah.
The APA challenge for the tag. Where's that? At Survivor Series. I'll mention that again when it comes to the tag titles. And there's a certain stipulation at Survivor Series with the tag. But again, more on that later. The next law. Hang on. There's another note again that leads up to Rebellion, so I'll mention it when I get through the card.
Yeah.
Steiner demands another shot at Rebellion. Austin at Rebellion. It's just basically you usually have the rematches and just give them there. And it's Steiner, so Austin v Steiner. At Survivor Series, Vince and Bischoff are made to be on their teams. They have to pick 4 other people. They can't just say, you 5 are fighting for me. You have to literally fight for the ownership.
Okay.
So it's Bischoff and Vincent both fighting.
I hope it comes down to them.
I doubt it. But they have been made, so we tell because that's when Bischoff was like, okay, I've got these people. He's like, you've got to fight. So obviously he's a bit shitty himself, but obviously he's trying to get the people around him. And Rock will challenge for the WCW title at Rebellion. Just because I need something for Rock to do.
Yep.
Because the person he's feuding with is in a match. So, at Rebellion, we have Jacqueline v. Lita, 2 of the women for the 6-pack. Lita would win. It's just, to get the women on the card now. Triple Threat, which is the other 3, Trish, Molly and Ivory. Trish would win that, because I think them and the 2 women, obviously, I'm going to focus on.
Yep.
Later on. Please say I've actually booked that 6-pack.
Wait.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Put it on there. Lance Storm will retain against Credible.
Yeah.
Just to get Lance. And it's the European title in England. So, that's that. The IC title #1 contender. 20-man battle royal. I have wrote the 20. So you got Farouk, Bradshaw, Bubba, Diva, Matt, Jeff, Chavo, Albert, RVD, Saturn, Regal, DDP, Canyon, Bam Bam, Booker T, Christian, Big Show, Tajiri, X-Pac and Rhino.
Oh, there weren't a funny one.
Where's
No. I was waiting.
Name in the US show. That's why. Edge would come back and eliminate Christian in this.
Okay.
Edge, so this helps
his
build
return.
them, Then Regal would win it. So it's a way of getting him away from the European, and now he's going to feed into and British man wins match in Britain. So we've got Regal fighting the IC champ at Survivor Series. Kidman would beat Spike in a cruiserweight title match, just because you can have an high flying match.
Yeah.
Angle would beat Jeff Jarrett in their match. It really beat the shit out of him to,
Or Jarrett.
Well, wait for TNA and for that match. I've just realised that that's the start of it. You stop my belt and boy. You've been looking at my wife. So, again, it's just Jarrett because he cost Angle. It was a way of giving him a match.
You booked them all.
In England, the IC title is Jerry Lynn, who's bought into my course.
I'm so happy that Jerry Lynn.
When Jerry Lynn comes out, Vince should look at Paul like, what have you done?
Well, you will do that because it's Vince. Awesome would win, and that's when Vince goes, right. I've had enough there.
Fucking Jerry Lynn with your fucking final solution.
In the hole. No, it's just obviously he's still trying to get more ECW or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, that will lead to the story in Survivor Series. Tag titles, Palumbo and O'Haire would beat Kane and Taker because the APA would cost them accidentally. Then the APA would challenge O'Haire and Palumbo.
On the same title?
No, for Survivor Series. And he's going to be called I just thought a Last Chance Saloon. It's just a hardcore match, but like that kind of thing. Like what TNA did with Storm and Rhino, that kind of shit. For the tag belts. They did a match there where it was all done like a bar and stuff, yeah. So it'd be similar to that for an obviously the APA.
WWF did like a bar fight when
bar brawl.
They did it when JBL had his Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys. John Backstreet Boys like
It's sort of like that, but they do say as well, because it's the last chance. Anytime, while Palumbo and O'Haire and champs, APA can't fight for the belt if they lose. So it's just a way of hopefully finishing that feud. WCW title, Jericho would beat Rock. You could kind of use the finish that they use really. With a chair and stuff. Because obviously Jericho's a heel, Rock's face. And Austin would beat Steiner just do a rematch for the belt and then the fans are happy with Austin. So that's Rebellion.
So we're all one step from the end. And then we'll see what lies beyond. After that, we're going to War Games with Jack for definite. We know that. For Sam, we know that Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff are in the main event. Well, I assume they're in the main event.
Yes,
with you, it might be in no particular order, but who knows? But we will find out there because you can join us on our last step, but you can let us know before we get there how you would have rebooked the Alliance to reach the summit of Survivor Series by heading over to our website, which is bettercallcreative.org, on our Twitter, which is @BCCPod, or our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/BCCPod. Well, it's Facebook.com. Yeah, well, you can go Facebook.co.uk. I don't know whether it'll work.
It ain't Twitter anymore.
Oh, no, it's X, isn't it?
The kind of phrase of Booker T. We're on X! That's what he kept saying on Great American Bash. He kept going, no, Vic, what is it? It's X! He's pissing me off every time he said it.
Slicing that in right at the end. Bit of lovely Booker T.
Yes.
You couldn't kill him, Taker. No one could. Good old Booker. But yes, we hope you will join us back then for Survivor Series next, and then we will be discussing and deciding what the worst used WCW, ECW, or WWF star by the opposition was in a Wrestle Cup before we go to jolly old Japan to watch the IWA King of the Death match from 1995. It has some of your boys. It has some of your non-boys.
It could be another type of King of Death match, like a tournament
that could be worse. And we're also doing Blood Runs Cold, which will be perfectly timed, hopefully, for the release of Mortal Kombat 1.
What year was that?
1997.
Just... A lot of the Nitros aren't on there, remember that.
It was like...
Did they remove
it? Are they on there yet? You know the 97...
We may need to reschedule that then.
Hopefully I'm on by
It's like 96, 97, so
They're all 96 of them on, but 97 there's only 16 on the network at the moment. I don't know why. There's no reason.
That is strange. I mean, we might be able to get the bits we need to in pay-per-views and YouTube clips and stuff, but we may have to reschedule that. I can guarantee you what isn't on the network is IWA.
We'll find out.
So we will be back, definitely, for that, and we hope that you will join us then. But that leaves me from Strange Ways Prison, shaking the bars. It's Jack Chance.
Goodbye.
And collecting his doll money. It's Sam Chance.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Roll, Britannia, Britannia, roll the waves. Britons never, never, never will be slaves. Roll.